Okay, so this is your regulator, alright? And this is your input from your battery. Just go, this is a 12 volts or 11 point whatever, into, 12 volts, into your regulator, alright? So let me show you what's going on. I just do a little rig so I can test. So this is my battery, so red and my black in there, making sure polarity is right, and it's connected in. Alright, I don't know if you can see my meter, but let me go to my voltage scale. Okay, so okay, that's 2 volts. 12 volts. So it's 12 volts coming out the battery. I think peak charge. And let me see if we can get a picture of what I'm measuring here. And I don't know if you can use a meter or what, but your cousin is a technician. Okay, so at this pin right here, the second pin should have the same voltage from the 12 volts. So that's 12 right here, and this is the second pin here. And you see on the meter, 12 volts, right? Okay. Out if the regulator is working, outside from the regulator it should have 5 volts. So 4.9, which is 5 volts really. Okay. This pin is actually going to this chip, and the number 1 pin right here is actually from the 5 volts. So if you look here, there's no voltage, right? See, if you look at the meter, there's no voltage. Alright? I know what the problem is. I'm just simulating, I'm just doing a simulation of what's going on. Alright, what I did, I connect the USB to the quad. So let's see if we can read what's going on from the quad. Alright, let me bring it over to my laptop. Okay, if you plug this out and plug it in, it doesn't even recognize it. Alright, so if you try to see if it shows up inside, if your computer reading it, it's not going to show that it's reading it. Alright, so it's dead. If you try to bring up the what do you call this thing again? The flight control GUI software, and try to read it. I'm going to go to English and open USB. It's not going to work. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of people saying try to format the quad. It can't do it if it's not working. Oh, another thing is, before you do all of that, make sure your chip, if it's shorted and it getting the right voltage, then you might as well buy a new board. So put your finger on it to feel it if it's hot. If it's hot, then chances are you have a bad microcontroller. It's not a microprocessor, it's a microcontroller. So if you press on it, it feels warm or hot. If it feels warm, and you're still not getting the blue light, there's something wrong still. Alright, so let's connect. So what I did, I actually disconnect the 5 volts applied to this quad, to this board. Sorry. Okay, so this pin right here is actually 5 volts from the regulator. Okay, let's see if we can solder this thing back up. Okay, there you go. Wow. Really? All right. Yeah, that was anyway. So if I okay, first thing, make sure you get a good iron because my tip is all bad, so it's not generating the heat as it should. Okay, so put my red to red and black to black. Make sure nothing touching the board. Short it up. And there you go, your blue light. Okay? So this thing, we'll cover this up. You see the blue light there? That shows that this process is working, and that blinking means that my oscillator is good. So that's the oscillation. Whatever megahertz that oscillator is, that's showing the actual speed of the oscillator. Not really, but you could tell that it's oscillating. And my light's working. Okay, so guess what's gonna happen next? You know, if I plug my this light is too bright. We disconnect it. Okay, red to red, black to black. I have to say it because sometimes I just take it for granted and plug it wrong. So black to black. Alright. Okay. Okay, my blue light's on. And if I plug in, there you go. You hear that sound? That means my computer just recognizes the board because the board is on. So let's go to the computer and then bring up my flight control. Flight control. Okay. And language, English. Open USB, and there you go. Okay, my problem with this board, because it got really bad tumble, my GPS, not GPS, my what do you call it? My gyros are shot. So if I actually move the my board around, it doesn't even affect. Doesn't do anything to the gyro sensor. So you know, I actually called the time of death yesterday. It's connected, and if you look here, it's the error in red. That means the board is I have some other problem on the board. So let me go back and recap what I just did. To make a long story short, if you plug your quad in, if you remove the top, plug your quad in, and you go from, let me make sure I see. That's easy to see. If you put your meter on your voltage scale, and your meter is set up your negative to your black and your positive to the number 1 pin, you should have 5 volts. Okay. Let's do it again. See? So 5 volts. I hope you're seeing the meter. Yeah. 5 volts. If you have 5 volts there and this thing is hot, then your board is shot. I don't know how you do it, but yeah, I've seen them go bad just that quick. Okay, another thing is, show you something real quick. To to access your folder, if I turn this off, yeah, it's on. If I just all I have to do is disconnect the battery, all right, and reconnect it. Guess what happened? Now this popped up automatically, and now I can see the quad becomes a flash drive. So the blue lights go away, but it's still it's still working because it's still using it. You actually there's nothing on this board really. This board is just a connector to this board. So this is just like an extension to this board right here. So there's nothing here apart from the regulator for 5 volts. All right. And the next thing you need to check to make sure, and you were saying that you have a 12 volts missing. It's almost impossible to have a 12 volt missing from there. So chances are you might have a problem from your battery. So make sure you from your battery. Okay, let's do this. Go on ohms scale. Your ohms meter with that little diode symbol and a little sound, whatever you might have on your meter. I'm not going to use disconnect everything, right? Not using voltage this time. So you're just going to do continue to check. Make sure you put your meter together. You get a tone. All right. So from your connector from the quad, the negative side, the black cable, go to your negative on the board and listen for that sound. So right around the board you should get that same sound. See? Negative. That's a ground. Alright? And even on this board, I know I'm not even looking, but I know on here you should get a negative sound too. See? This is a capacitor. And every negative side of the capacitor you're gonna have a ground. See? Just elementary for technician. Okay? So once you do that and get all that, then you go to your positive side. Okay? And you do the same thing. Check on the plus side. Your plus side. Your plus side. Right around. If you're not getting that plus sound, if you're not getting your continuity, that's on an ohm scale, not voltage, ohm scale. If you're not getting that, then chances are I would change the wire. It's almost impossible, but I think really and truly, I think it's probably somewhere in here you might have a broken wire and it's not making a connection. It's probably real obvious. So if you pull on the wire like this, it should come right out if it's bad, and vice versa at the other end. So, what I was saying again. So yeah, so you do your ohms check, and then this is your your 12 volts connector too. All right. So I don't remember which one it was. If it's this side or this side. I think the side to the what do you call it? To your USB is your ground. So if you do this, you don't have to pull it down like how I pull mine down. You can just do it on the quad. You should get that sound. And if you go to this side, yeah, if you go to the other side, okay, you should get that sound.